I got a question for you. You want to do like a little acting exercise? In fact, okay, this is a crazy way to start a video. Bear with me. Like, is this going to be appropriate? Is this going to be appropriate? Is this even going to be appropriate? Oh my God. Okay. So with this little acting exercise, when I'm facing here, I am a third party. I am just another person. Okay. But y'all get my shoulder, okay? I like you guys. You guys get the nice shoulder, okay? When I am on this side, I am representing you. Me. Us. Okay? Hey friend, oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've seen you. How have you been? Like, my life is so crazy, I could just really use a friend to vent to right now. Oh my goodness, friend, please, let me know what's going on in your world. What's happening with you? I would love to understand what's going on in your world. Well, you see, I'm just really unhappy with my job. My boss sucks and he won't give me a raise. And then I come home to just a loud, messy house and I feel like nobody ever helps me. They just watch me struggle and it sucks. I feel so alone. I feel so unheard. And I'm just having so many issues with the people in my life. Okay, I'm hearing that you're having some issues with your job and that your boss is making it a little difficult for you. And generally just the relationships that you're having with people are struggling a little bit. Oh, I know, it's so frustrating. I just don't understand why the economy has to be the way that it is and why people have to make my life so hard. It's like no one wants to help each other these days and everybody's only ever looking out for themselves and it's just so unfair. I feel so alone. Well, I'm hearing a lot of the ways that people are affecting you in your situation. But what's going on with you? What problems are you having with you? Not your boss, not your family, not your boyfriend, not your girlfriend. What about your situation? Let me put my shirt back on too. I don't want to act like relationship issues and these kind of things don't affect us and that we kind of just brush them off and act like they're not ours to deal with. But I think it's really important to not take on other people as problems or take on other people's problems as your own. Because there's a very big difference between how to perceive it. I think the best way for me to keep this simple is, for instance, with the work situation in that example. It's not necessarily that you're having a problem with your boss. Because what are you going to do about your boss? You can't force your boss to give you a raise. You can't force them to be nicer. You can't force them to be better at delegating tasks. But what your actual problem is the fact that you need a new job. But it's a lot easier to focus on the ways that your boss sucks and the negative emotions and feelings and people tied to that problem than it is to take a more action-oriented approach to fixing it. I really encourage you, if you're feeling a lot of like being pulled in a lot of different directions and you have maybe people putting a lot of expectations onto you and what they want your life to look like and it might not line up with yours. I mean, there's a lot of different nuanced reasons why people feel this way. But maybe more so rather than focusing on like how you can grow your material wealth or how you can grow your social circle, or I think sometimes when we do New Year's resolutions, we focus a lot on the things in our surroundings and we try to use things that we can see around us as like avenues for growth, when all of the growth that you're ever going to see is by taking accountability for yourself and your problems. It's really a whole lot easier to focus on everyone else. And there's so many distractions that allow us to just get really nosy and focus on other people. I mean, it's even to the point where it's a lot easier to blame these like personified entities that are working against us than it is to take accountability of like, well, maybe I just need to change my profession. Maybe I just need to exercise more. Maybe it really could be a whole lot more simple than we make it. And so it's very liberating once you start to learn these things. Once you really start to dwindle down the things that you put your energy towards to the like you in like an internal you, it's nice. The slippery slope that now that I'm running into is I really value the perspective of the people closest to me. I really value their support and direction, but even that's a bit of a cop-out because it's so much easier, I am about to turn 25 this year. And I took a little bit longer to grow up than most people. With the dynamic that I have with my parents, I'm the youngest of my family, so in a way they will allow me to kind of be a kid for as long as I want. since I value their opinion and perspective so much, in a way, I've allowed myself to live the way that I've been living because I've almost been allowing these people to continue to make choices for me instead of really thinking about what do I want for me regardless of how it's going to make other people feel or if they agree with it or what. And I'm seeing where it's gotten me, and it's really put me in a bad position. But when I had moved back here in October, it was because I was in a relationship where I had just completely lost myself. I had become so codependent on him for entertainment and support that it not only pushed him away, but it made it so I forgot all of the things that made me who I am outside of him. And so I genuinely needed to leave that environment and leave that relationship to kind of re-find who I am and, figure out what I want for myself outside of what people expect for me. And once you have that epiphany of free will, how am I going to use it? It almost does take you sitting alone with yourself and meditating on it to figure out what you even want it to look like. It kind of sucks that I had to hurt people in the process of me refinding myself. And something that's really restored my faith in people and humanity is I'm a very intolerant, impatient person. I'm like a little alley cat. The second that I get a sniff of something wrong, I run. And I'm just so grateful to have so many forgiving, empathetic people in my life that are willing to give me extra chances and, be real enough with me to see these things. But when I had made that decision to move back here, I had kind of said it with the sense of certainty. And you can't speak on things you don't know. You can't speak on the future because you have no idea what's going to happen. And the second that you start to think that you know what's going to happen, it's almost like the universe makes the exact opposite happen just to make you feel small or something. I don't know. Learning. So, I moved back here into this environment that, allows me to have the space and the time to sit with myself and work on these things. And my God, I've learned so much and matured so much. And it's put me in a position where it's now I could get back into that relationship that I was in and we could be so much better and stronger for it. However, to everyone in my life, that's going to sound crazy. That's going to sound destructive. That's going to sound like it's coming from a place of mental instability. And quite honestly, I fear that it's going to make it so it almost pushes some of my support system away from me. And that's the risk that comes with free will. It's you're given these choices and you can take them and you can try it, but you can't understand how people are going to react to it. You don't know how that's going to affect you. You don't know what's going to arise from it. And you have to just give people the opportunity to feel how they're going to feel about it because that's their right. I just wish that people weren't so forceful with thinking that just because they have certain feelings about it, that they're correct. Especially when it comes to relationship stuff. It's my friends and family will never understand it because they never dated him. They didn't date me. They didn't date him. They didn't live with that. You're pretty kind of alone on that front, which sucks. But one of the hardest things for me to learn in regards to free will is you really have to look at, if you are going to go the route where you kind of run your ideas and your actions by people, really look at who you're asking for help. And remember that advice is not direction. You can take it with a grain of salt. You can take it or leave it. It's up to you whether you choose it or not. I have a really hard time with taking advice as instructions. You're not doing anyone a service by it. It'll hurt you and it'll hurt everyone around you. I find myself now in this position where it's I feel like a dog with a tail between my legs because, growing up, me and my family had to always look at the world from a fight or flight kind of standpoint. It was a lot of survival and it worked for us, but it doesn't make sense anymore. We're not in that place anymore. Things are better now. I realize that, but I fear a lot of my family is still kind of operating from that fight or flight place. And I wish I would have realized that sooner because when I left my boyfriend, I was with him for a year and I literally ghosted him. I literally just packed up my stuff and left without saying anything. And he didn't beat me. He didn't yell at me. He didn't it was honestly the healthiest relationship I had ever been in. And that was my choice. Even if I may have had influence in that choice, I still made that choice. But it really feeds into generational trauma. I feel like this is kind of what they're talking about because it's my mom's mom left her. My mom left me. I remember in that relationship, my partner saying, I'm scared that you're going to leave our family one day. It's going to all get too much for you and you're just going to leave. And I did that exact thing. And so it's like, well, what did I expect her to say? What did I expect her to like tell me to do when I wanted to leave? Because you can't go to those people who have perpetuated generational trauma for advice on how to not perpetuate generational trauma. It sounds so simple, but like, whoo! If somebody could have told me that a little sooner, oh my God. Oh my God. Is this life? Is this real? Where am I? To the point that I had made it to in my goal setting for 2025, I'm there. We're at the finish line. It's time to reevaluate and figure out things. And it is not what I expected. I have some tough conversations ahead of me, but in a way I'm so excited for it because this is going to be such a good practicing exercise in just being who I am despite how it makes people feel, despite if it makes them uncomfortable, despite if they agree with it. I get to do this for me. If I'm going to fuck my life up, I'm going to do it. It's my turn. I'm so done with like letting other people's influence put me in a direction to fuck up my life. Like, I'm ready to be that influence to fuck up my life. I just really hope that people can be like patient and forgiving through it, because it's like, you know, while I can recognize maybe some of like the negative effects that my support system has had on me, I love them and I don't want to lose them. And I think that that's like the real pit in my stomach, is like, it just sucks that sometimes through choosing yourself, you sacrifice other people. And I think that that's why it's so much easier to live for other people and for their expectations and kind of fit into this mold and get used to feeling a little empty. You know, I feel like that's kind of the norm because this is hard. But I really encourage you to do it. One of the things that I've noticed is like, I have a really negative perspective on things that are hard. Maybe it's the privilege, I have no idea, but like, it's like I expect things to come easy and I expect people to just give me opportunities to make my life easier. And it's like, I kind of just expect life to happen to me. But I can't live that way anymore because it's happening to me, but it's all in like negative ways stemming from places of arrogancy and rashness and laziness. I'm picking my opportunities. I think I'm moving back across the country to a place that I don't like, and the culture is so different from me. Like, oh my God, I feel like such a little black sheep over there. And even in a way, that's exciting because it forces me to be in an environment where like I have to be myself. I've already seen what happens when I try to fit the mold and when I try to fit the status quo and be what they want me to be. And it's soul-sucking. You end up empty. You end up not being able to think straight. So like, I am so much more okay with being liberated at the thought of people not liking me but knowing me than the idea of people liking me and not knowing me. Moving forward, I want to make sure that I kind of document this a little bit and all that kind of good stuff. I want to keep you guys in on the journey so that way you can either just like sit back with some popcorn and watch everything crumble, or like hopefully I can prove some people wrong and like actually be able to have a really happy, healthy relationship and build a family with a man who just wants to see me happy and is willing to help me make it happen. Like, if I can just get through this hard transition period of standing up for myself and advocating for myself and my boundaries, we got golden roads ahead of us, baby. We got golden roads ahead of us. Sometimes you just have to make a really big mess in order to like truly clean it up. Even like something that I learned through my time of going to the hospital this year is it's like sometimes you have to go through immense amounts of pain to live and to be healthy. And so that's what we're doing, baby. We are just gonna face it head on, and we are just gonna be honest and upfront with stuff, and we're gonna let people feel how they feel about it, and I'm gonna let me feel how I feel about it. And like, once I remove myself from the fear, it allows me to finally be excited again. Last night I was just so sad. I was just so like, oh my God, like I was with the love of my life and I just wanted it to work so badly and it wasn't working and I got so frustrated, and it's like, now it could work. Why am I not happier? Well, I got some messes to clean up before I can, be happier about it and really see it. So come join me in confrontating everyone in my life, maybe pushing everyone away. But I'm gonna leave it here. Have fun perusing on the internet. Stay safe out there. And I adore every single one of you and your sweet little cheeks. Mwah! Goodbye!